Hey everyone, this is Juan from Disruptivo. I'm very excited. We're here at FLE 2023, FLE going back to the roots, and we're excited. We're doing interviews on the main axis of FLE. One of them is climate resilience, and for that we have none other than Cliff Pryor, who is the CEO of the GSG, all the way from the UK. He's participating at FLE for the first time in Mexico, and we're excited to have him in Disruptivo as well for the first time. Cliff, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Juan, and really enjoying this conference. The FLE is just another world. It's not a conference by any.
No, it's not a conference. I agree.
Yeah, it's.
You can see people right now having, after lunch at the pool. It's
and people doing deals and people learning from each other, and it's in a very just sort of open way. It's lovely. It's lovely. So yeah, I should say I am CEO of the Global Steering Group for Impact Investing. So what is the GSG, as we call it? It's all about driving real impact. We work with around 60 countries at the moment with their efforts to build the market for impact investing in their countries. We give them a framework, but it's all about what is right for your country, where are the opportunities, where are the barriers that you want to overcome, where do you start, where do you go next? And across those 60 countries, about 1,000 people are working together, driving real impact.
There are now a lot of NABs, local NABs, like in Mexico.
You have to, for a moment, say NAB. A NAB is a National Advisory Board for impact investing. Yeah,
then we have to explain it. No, and it's made from local organizations, from banks, financial institutions, venture capitals, entrepreneurs, accelerators, trying to move forward the local agenda, like you mentioned, the national agenda for impact investing. And you guys are helping coordinate, have the power of
policy interventions as well. Okay. So engaging with governments, making sure that regulatory systems are positive for impact investing, whether it's social entrepreneurs or whether it's the bigger scale. And the advisory sector is also really important.
Awesome. We have you actually here to talk about one topic that I know you're passionate. We've had a few conversations before about climate resilience and climate change, and how can impact investing play a role into solving the climate crisis, which is upon us. And it's one of the main topics at FLE. It's at the center of all of the conversations here. How does, I want to start with that, with a broad overview from yourself of how does impact investing play a role on the climate crisis, and why is it important to put it at the center of the conversation?
The climate change is definitely going to be at the center of the conversation, but let's just look at where we're going to on this. For some time, impact investing, social impact investing has all been about people, and quite rightly so. Vulnerable people in poverty, education problems, etc., etc., etc. It's all been about poverty. And over here we've had the climate work, and what's happened. I suppose it was the catastrophic year last year that made, I think, everybody realize that you can't separate the two, because the climate crisis is hitting people now, and it's key. It's a social crisis, vulnerable populations. You can't separate. And also, if you want big climate change action, you need the will of the people. So from both sides. From the climate side, just sort of social, from the social side to the climate, you have to think about them together. What are you actually doing about this? Well, I think from last year, from those terrifying floods in Pakistan, the droughts in China, the 50 Celsius for 2 weeks in India, and 200 million people, and they're right on the edge of the point where human life cannot continue. That's just a few examples. And so people have just woken up. We have to deal with this. It's not a 2050 challenge. Things are going to be really bad if we get as far as 2035. So we have to act quickly. And rather than thinking, last year we were doing this, now we're doing a bit better, next year will be a bit better too, we need to look at that goal, let's say 2035, and work backwards. How much do we need to do in this year in order to achieve the change that we need by 2035, whatever date we get to?
We don't have a board or anything, but you draw for me yesterday a graph. I say we're growing, we're going a little bit by little bit, and that way we're going to hit the wall.
The example that I think of is, there's no point at all in sending somebody to the moon if they only get halfway.
Yeah.
You're dead. That's it. You either get there or you don't start. And we need to get there. We need to get there. We need to work out how, step by step, we get to that point.
Okay. I think that's super interesting, and it gives us obviously a lot to think, a lot to talk about. And one of the things that we have to talk about that conversation is that it has to be a multi-sector effort. Right now we have here a lot of entrepreneurs, we have a lot of smaller scale investors, venture capitals, some corporations that are doing some efforts, but it's not enough. We have to have the big players, we have to have the big financial institutions driving impact investing towards climate resilience.
Yeah, so impact investing, it includes the social entrepreneur field, but it also includes impact, mainstream asset managers, large funds. It's about impact banks. It's about impact pension funds. It's the whole piece. When we look at climate change and social, the social entrepreneurs are just fabulous at working with people, understanding how you can improve their lot. Whereas at the big scale, at the big infrastructure scale, they know how to make large scale change happen pretty rapidly. And so the combination of the two is hugely important. It will be different. I mean, everything's going to be different. If you're talking another time about farming, is your current wet farmland suitable for its current crops, which like wet farmland?
Yeah.
Is it going to be more and more dry, so you need to change? Is it that the water table is coming up and you need to go further up the hill? Those kinds of changes. So social entrepreneurs are really good at helping on that, and the combination of the communities that understand their way of living and the social entrepreneurs who know how to finance their work, really important.
You mentioned before that, for example, there are no perfect movements and there are no perfect solutions. When we're talking about the ESGs, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday you told me that there's like 1.8 billion all today going into impact investing, and there's 40 billion or trillion with it to the ESGs.
40 trillion, yeah. 1.2 trillion of impact and just under 40 trillion of ESG. And let's say, just as an example, if ESG is as impactful as impact funds, let's say 1/4 as impactful, well, that's still 10 trillion. We're not going to say no. So we mustn't be purist about this. Of course, we want to.
I love that view.
We want to ensure that that ESG framed funds are doing the environment, the social, and the good governance. And see, we need to deal with greenwashing, impact washing, etc. That's actually happening. Pretty much every jurisdiction in the world that's got substantial ESG framed funds is now on to that.
Okay.
So I'm positive about that. It won't be all of ESG going towards the sustainable and impact field, but enough of it, and that's what we need. We need enough to solve this challenge before it harms vulnerable populations, mostly, way too much.
And going into so that talks about the importance, of the large corporations, the large investors, the large money, and the large capitals, and why their role is key. But the other part is the communities, and the communities have to be at the center of this conversation as well. You were mentioning earlier an example with the coal mines, the coal mines, and that obviously I don't know where you can explain it.
Yeah, so there are a number of what are called JET programs now, just energy transition programs, as part of the G20. And let's take one example in South Africa, where in one province, 140,000 coal miners, and they will have to transition out of coal into clean energy. 140,000 people. That's the economy of the entire province.
Yeah.
So this is a very, very big challenge, because this isn't just about, reskilling to new jobs. It's probably about rehoming. It's probably about, movement of people to other provinces. Very, very challenging. And what do we see that with the preparation from the populations there is, they've got very strong labour markets. So they are well prepared to argue their case about how things should be developed. And the populations need to know, is this, we're going to shut one coal mine each year, so there's a sort of staging process. Are we trying to change all of the coal mines all at once? Because this is very different. These are very different situations. The communities need to have a voice. They need to have a strong voice. We need the social entrepreneurs to help with technical assistance and all the things that social entrepreneurs do so well as the big scale funds to switch from coal mines across to clean energy. Have to do it. It's not an easy job at all, and it needs all of the skills that the impact movement have.
Yeah. To me, the conclusion of this is we need these three, putting it broadly in three categories. We need these three players: the communities, the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Not only the entrepreneur themselves, but everybody that's around them, the accelerators, incubators, the funds, and also the big funds, the big corporations, the big governments, the big money, and the big capital. We need to be at the table together, because otherwise we're going to hit the wall.
Absolutely, and from the community voice all the way through to the big finance. Everybody needs to be involved in that. There are examples where that's happened, which is good news.
Yeah,
there are some examples.
I was going to ask you that because, and this is, I'm taking your words here, but this can make you be, pessimistic. They can make you want to be, hiding under your cover and then saying, okay, so the world is doomed, and nothing we can do will change it. But actually, that's not true. There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic.
There are. I mean, there's the question of fear.
Yeah.
Are you worried about it?
Yeah.
I think you want to be worried about it. It's real. It's a very real threat. But being pessimistic and hiding under the duvet is not going to solve it, and it's not going to stop it happening.
I agree.
So we need to be optimistic. Why are we optimistic? It's innovation. This is one of the things I was saying in the flea earlier on this week. Is impact needs to run really fast. We need to support innovation, and we're seeing a lot in this conference. We've seen a couple of very high level tech panels. Before COVID, it used to take easily 10 years to get a vaccine out. With COVID, it was 6 months. That's we can do it. If we put our mind to it, we can make these changes. And the power of impact technology, I think, is going to be really, really important.
Cliff, thank you so much for sharing this with us, sharing your perspective, sharing these sides of the conversation, which I think I agree with you. I think we need to be having this conversation in a lot more serious manner and taking things into action, which I think it's really, really important.
I want to add one thing, if I may, and that is what's changing in finance.
Okay.
So there are a number of measures, step by step, very high finance. People are thinking, hey, that's a long way away, it's very complicated, but we're looking towards international standards that will be common across the world. We are having a set of regulatory reporting systems which are very similar across jurisdictions. And then we have impact valuation, putting a positive or negative monetary amount on the good and the bad that companies deliver. You put these things together, this is a new financial world order. It's as big as when risk came in, or when accounting became standardized. It is hugely important. It will massively assist what we need to do on climate. People around the world need to know about this. They need to know about it because this is currently being designed as ever, in places like Frankfurt and Wall Street and etc. And countries like Mexico, countries in Latin America, countries in Africa and in Southeast Asia need to know about this. And it's one of the things that the GSG is doing, is making sure that there are opportunities for the voice of those other countries in the design of this future finance. It's one of the innovations that's coming along. Now, 2 years ago, there were no sustainability-linked bonds or loans. Now it's 2 trillion.
Wow.
So we can see, this is why I just wanted to end up on
a positive note.
Yeah, a positive note. Yes, it's all scary, but we can be optimistic.
Awesome.
We can be optimistic.
Yeah. I love it. And we're going to be optimistic because of the little things, but also because of the larger things.
Absolutely. It all comes together.
Awesome. Cliff, I want to end with a couple of questions that we've actually asking everybody. And I want to have them right, so I'm going to take out my phone. Because we're going to ask everybody here at least the same question. The first one is, in one word, what is the key to building resilience against climate change?
Togetherness.
Togetherness, I love it. And to who should we prioritize as an agent of change for climate resilience? And I'm going to give you a list of 5, and you can kind of put them in order. That I know they're all important, but who should we prioritize? The communities in vulnerable situations, the big corporations, society in general, the consumers, government, or the social enterprises and NGOs?
Whoa. I'm sorry, but I'm just putting them all in a ring.
Okay.
And I'm putting them in a ring because they're all important.
Yeah.
They've just got different angles on this ring. Because we're not going to get the changes that we need from governments if there isn't the will of the people.
Yeah.
There won't be the will of the people if the people have not been served properly. And the social entrepreneurs can support some of the poverty alleviation, the other things that they're really strong at. Corporates are already doing a lot, but they, we need to have integrity about exactly what they are doing. They probably need some permissions from government. It's all interlinked.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say any one of them. I'm going to say all of them, all tied together until they do it.
I love that you explain why, and I love that you have the very great arguments to say it. Cliff, thank you so much for being here with us. You are only like 3 days in Flea and Mexico, so having you here for 30 minutes has been amazing. Thank you so much.
It's a real pleasure. It's a real pleasure.
I hope this is definitely not the last time you are with us at Disruptivo. We're doing a lot more content on impact investing, and hopefully we can have you here with us for a couple more times.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Take care. All the best.
Thank you so much to everybody, and don't forget to keep looking at the whole series on the Flea 2023. Going back to our roots, we're talking about climate resilience, well-being, purpose-driven technology, and inclusivity. So keep with us and go to Disruptivo TV to see everything about Flea 2023. Bye.